Into the Radius might be one of the best VR games currently on the market, even years after its initial release. Hello everybody, my name is Sicko Games, and welcome to my review for Into the Radius. Now, I've played a lot of VR games my time with my Quest 2 and mixed reality headset like half a decade ago. Has it really been that long? No wonder my autistic ass can't remember anything. But I digress. I played through the majority of this on Quest 2, and only with mixed reality many years ago, and only now came around to replaying the game in full like 2 or 3 weeks ago. But let's start with this. This review will have gameplay and in-game equipment and content of the final area and scenes of the game in the background. Now, Into the Radius isn't a very story-heavy game. It's more about giving a box and a reason to go places and continue into the Radius. Anyway, if you want to go in blind into this for your first time into the game, this is your time to get off. But since it's been so long since its initial release, I assume most of you are here just to watch a review or have played it already for yourself. Before we start, I would like to mention that my Radius game is quite modded. From replacement models from Escape from Tarkov, to scavenger mod allowing for more loot, to player model being darker suit and other things, and a bigger backpack with stamina reworks, weight reworks installed, and other things. Fret not though, my core experience of the game was still highly enjoyable. Let's get started. The pros. This game may be one of the most immersive games in VR. And I've tested a lot of immersive games, and while to my knowledge there is no true immersive simulator yet as far as I know, that really puts survival first and giving you an experience like this one, it is still very much up there in terms of games like Stalker and Metro and so on. Speaking of Stalker, I have no real place to talk on this, but apparently this is one of the closest games you can get to Stalker in VR without just playing Stalker in VR. Same with Metro, which I have played. Traveling through the exclusion zone feels like you're walking through a truly irradiated wasteland of an Eastern European country, like the Soviet Union after a extensive accident or something along those lines. From the fictional names of the cities and locations to the notes surrounding the mystery of what happened to the mining town, it all adds up to an incredible experience that's really unmatched so far. As for gameplay, the loop of gameplay of searching for artifacts, cleaning through monsters and anomalies, and doing high priority missions, waiting for the tide to come through so you can go loot even more, just scratches my loot goblin brain. Especially with the changes that the scavenger mod delivers on, makes opening crates just so damn appealing. Opening a box to see a rusted AK or a side-by-side double-barrel shotgun which you can't find in the actual shop at the train car at your home base just makes me so giddy and itching to explore more. Then there's the horror of the game. This game is dark. Like, I needed a flashlight on 24/7. As you can see in the gameplay, always it needed to be on. The last bit of footage where I went through a route one last time shows how dark it is without it. And speaking of horror, I never really got scared from this game. The only thing that I was ever really worried about or got scared of was losing my progress, especially early game against armored enemies and those stupid fucking mimics. But there has been a few other people I've spoken to have played this game, and they have told me to them it is downright terrifying. And for the largest part of the game, the gunplay, sure it might quote-unquote be dated to some, but it sure feels arcadey as well, and with how floaty the weapons are, and they have no real weight, and with how pulling back the charging handles can be a little wonky and janky at times, but it certainly is no Bone Lab or Boneworks or something like H3 VR. But it still feels good. The sounds are crisp, the impact feels impactful, and the guns actually feel like you're chipping away at enemies and not just pulling a trigger on some bots. At least to me. Now to get into the little bits of story I picked up on, so spoilers ahead. But this is going to be short, because I really didn't pay attention. You are Explorer 61, an explorer hired from soldiers, mercs, and other individuals that know their way around dangerous environments. As you go through the Radius, getting closer and closer to the giant fuck-off big black hole-looking anomaly, you'll find Katya, an anomaly that seems to be different from the rest of the monsters, and who wishes to escape whatever fate she's been destined to. And that's as much as I figured out. Katya wants out, and your missions lead closer and closer to freeing her. Now for the cons. The anomalies are fucking annoying. Oh my god, they are so annoying, especially the mimics. Oh my god, they will just lunge at you and just... It is... Most of this video has been scripted, but I'm just going to go on a quick rant. God, the anomalies can be so annoying. The Striders are just these Enderman-looking guys that just eat through AP rounds, and they'll just swipe at you, and they look really, really janky, and they just keep teleporting closer and closer and closer behind you. Even if you run away from them, they'll still swipe at you and end up killing you. Even with in-game equipment, it takes round after round to take them down, and you go up against a lot of them as you progress through. They are just so spongy and so hefty. And then there's the electric anomalies. Oh my god. The electric anomalies are so annoying. They will zap things out of your hand and will quickly chip away through your health even with the best armor on. To the point to where I just disabled them with a mod, and I internally roleplayed that I had an insulated suit or whatever. So, yeah. Continuing back to the script, which has been all over the place, a major part of this game is artifacts, and so far there are 3 useful ones: Cat Eye, Regen, and Footsteps. Cat Eye allowing you to see in the dark without a flashlight, Footsteps letting you retrace your footsteps by seeing your path you took on the ground, and Regen, something that heals both your hunger, stamina, and your health all in one. I'm pretty sure it heals your food, I think. At least that's what I call them. The Footsteps is pretty much useless because you never really get lost. You can always look at your map and you can never lose your map. And some of the other anomalies that you would think might have a purpose are really just forgotten and sold off after a while. And I'm going to go through a few rapid fire things that I feel are cons for the games. There's never really enough monsters in certain areas. It feels like you go from one area that has a ton of monsters or no monsters to then being fucking surrounded by armored enemies with machine guns that will shred through your health at any moment. Maybe that's a part of the core gameplay. Who knows? Maybe it was just an oversight. I don't know. There only seems to be 5 areas in the game, with there being the main route, Pobeba, Balatki, and then Zarya, and then finally the castle. All those places are very, very entertaining to go through and are so atmospheric. I just wish there was more confined spaces instead of just roads to walk down and fields and so on. I would really much enjoy a city to go through, seeing the spires of an Eastern Orthodox church or so on just being collapsed, and having maybe bigger anomalies and so on. Maybe in the sequel you actually get to see the Thumpers visibly as they walk through and might offer up a big challenge. And I know that there is one unique anomaly, that being the tank that's in Zarya, that is really, really, really hard to deal with unless you're smart about it. But other than that, it just feels like you're going through the same areas over and over and over. Sure, you're seeing new parts of them, but over time, by your 30th metastasis, go find an anomaly in the anomaly zone, everything feels the same. And the other thing is that base loot in these environments without the scavenger mod don't feel very fulfilling. You will climb to the top of a crane in Balatki, but then half the time the crate isn't up there, and then half the time it is up there, and then it's just a few magazines that you can just buy anyway. It's never a weapon that you could not find in the shop that is specially made or so on. It's always something that really doesn't matter. Other than that, speaking of the store, everything is really, really expensive, to the point to where most of the times your money that you get is spent on ammo. It's never spent on direct upgrades. I relied a lot on the scavenger mod that just bolstered what I could find out in the radius, and then I repaired them. Also, there are some glitches, at least with my thing. I don't know if it was just the mods I had in, but the manual weapon cleaning just didn't work at all, and that was really unfortunate, because I felt that that was one of the most immersive parts about the game. Other than that, there's a very confined, like, amount of weapons. There's not a lot of really, how do I say, like, experimental weapons that you would find in something like Metro or Stalker or so on. A lot of it is just, like, modern weapons, or like modern Soviet weapons that you would find during that time period. I would really enjoy there being more experimental weapons, such as like something that's handmade, or something that does a lot of damage but is a glass cannon, or something like that. That would be really, really enjoyable. To add on to my thoughts to these comments, other than that, I would say that your chest rig doesn't hold enough mags. I would enjoy if there was like double layering to the chest rig so that you could have multiple mags for multiple weapons, because a lot of the times I carried entire ammo cans into my runs to refill my mags on the go, and on my final mission in the castle I brought around many guns to switch between because I knew that I would just run through so much ammunition, and having a multi-layered vest would keep me from just pulling back my backpack more and more. And I wish that I could also hold more guns in the base game without relying on mods, or even have another one over my shoulder or so on. Something like having pistol mags on your arm or on your thigh or something like that would be very nice to have, but you just don't have it, and you have to rely on searching through your backpack. To wrap everything up, I've had Into the Radius for about 3 years, I think. I don't remember. I haven't really looked at my Steam account. But I've only recently, in the past month, completed this game, and it was one of the best experiences I've had in VR ever since I've gotten into VR, until like 2017, I think it was. Good lord. Whenever I started getting into like VR, from the organization to just wandering through the exclusion zone with old Soviet music in the background, it just feels really, really, really good. I give it a solid 8.5 out of 10, and I cannot wait for Into the Radius 2, which is apparently releasing sometime this year in 2024, so that's something I'll be looking out for, and I might just play it through on the channel. But yeah, if you guys want to see more, click subscribe, and if you want to be notified of every single time that I upload in the future, hit that be notified. And if you have any thoughts, or want to talk about anything, or if you've played Into the Radius, you have your own grievances, or anything like that, say it down in the comments down below. Let's start a discussion. I think it'll be really, really fun. And other than that, as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.